Every single day, over 8 million people walk into a KFC restaurant somewhere in the world. They order that crispy golden chicken and take a bite without ever thinking about the massive operation that made it possible. Today, you are going to see the entire journey from a living chicken on a farm to that perfectly fried piece in your bucket. The whole process takes about 14 hours and involves 47 separate steps across multiple facilities. There are over 50 quality checks along the way, and the scale is almost hard to believe. KFC buys more than 1 billion chickens every single year, making them the second largest chicken buyer on the planet, right behind McDonald's. The secret blend of 11 herbs and spices that Colonel Harlan Sanders created back in 1939 is still locked in a vault at KFC headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. Two separate companies, McCormick and Griffith Laboratories, each produce half of the spice blend, and neither one knows the complete recipe. The final mixing happens at a single secure facility. Everything starts on carefully selected farms across the country. In the United States, KFC partners with major suppliers like Tyson Foods and Pilgrim's Pride. These farms raise specific chicken breeds, mostly the Cobb 500 and Ross 308, which have been developed over decades for consistent size and meat quality. The chickens eat a diet made up of about 60% corn, 30% soybean meal, and 10% vitamins and minerals. Hormones and steroids are completely banned by federal law, so every chicken you eat from KFC has never been given any growth hormones. The barns where these chickens live are climate controlled with automatic temperature and humidity systems. Fresh bedding covers the floors, and automatic feeders and water systems run throughout the buildings. The chickens have space to walk around perch and do their natural pecking behaviors. Female chickens reach their target weight of 5 to 7 pounds in about 32 to 38 days, while males can take up to 65 days because they grow larger. Now here is something interesting about the timeline. Fertile eggs are collected from breeder farms and stored at 68 degrees Fahrenheit before heading to the hatchery. Once they arrive, they go into massive incubators set at exactly 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Machines turn these eggs every single hour to make sure the embryo develops evenly on all sides. This incubation period lasts 18 to 21 days, and during this time, workers use infrared technology to check which eggs are actually viable. Any eggs that show problems get removed and sent off to be processed into animal feed. When hatching day arrives, the chicks break through their shells over a period of 6 to 24 hours. Conveyors separate the newly hatched chicks from the broken shells, and workers inspect each one for health and vitality. More than 95% of chicks pass this inspection and move on to the next stage. The ones that show serious health problems are culled humanely right there at the hatchery. The healthy chicks get transported to brooding areas where the temperature starts at 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the next couple of weeks, workers gradually lower the temperature as the chicks grow stronger. These young birds get immediate access to specially formulated starter feed that is easy to digest and packed with proteins and vitamins to support rapid early development. Think about this for a second. In just over a month, these tiny chicks will transform into full-sized chickens ready for processing. During the growing phase, automatic feeders deliver high-protein diets multiple times per day. Farm workers check on the chickens every single day, looking for any signs of illness or stress. Many farms now use natural lighting cycles and environmental enrichments to keep the birds calmer and healthier. KFC has been working toward something called the Better Chicken Commitment, which pushes for slower growing breeds, lower stocking density of no more than 30 kilograms per square meter, and more enrichment items in the barns by 2026. When the chickens reach their target weight and harvest time begins, this almost always happens at night because chickens are calmer in the dark and easier to handle. Workers use either live harvester machines or gentle hand-catching techniques to load the birds into plastic transport crates. Each crate holds about 5 to 7 birds with enough space for them to stay comfortable during the ride. The crates load onto climate-controlled trucks that keep the temperature steady no matter what the weather is doing outside. The trip to the processing plant is kept as short as possible because fresher birds produce more tender meat. Every batch gets tracked through a traceability system so KFC can follow each group of chickens from the exact farm where they were raised all the way through to the final product. When the trucks arrive at the processing plant, the lighting is kept dim to keep the birds calm. The chickens enter a chamber filled with carbon dioxide gas, which puts them to sleep painlessly within seconds. Once they are fully unconscious, they get shackled to an overhead line that moves them through the rest of the facility. Trained workers perform the actual slaughter by cutting the carotid and jugular blood vessels, and the birds die within about 90 seconds. The processing lines move fast, handling between 140 and 175 birds every single minute. After slaughter, the carcasses move into scalding tanks filled with water heated to between 136 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This hot water loosens all the feathers so they can be removed easily. The birds then pass through machines with spinning rubber fingers that strip away the feathers in about 12 seconds flat. Any tiny pin feathers that remain get singed off with controlled flames. Evisceration comes next, and this is where robotic equipment really takes over. Automated scoops reach inside each carcass and remove all the internal organs in one smooth motion. The hearts, livers, and gizzards get separated and sold off to pet food manufacturers. Other byproducts like feet and feathers go to rendering plants where they get processed into various industrial products. Absolutely nothing goes to waste in a modern chicken processing facility. The cleaned carcasses then need to be chilled as quickly as possible to prevent any bacterial growth. Most plants use either air chilling at 34 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit or ice water baths. During this chilling process, the chicken absorbs about 8 to 12% of its weight in water, which also helps with food safety. The carcasses stay in the chilling system until their internal temperature drops to safe levels. Cutting is where precision becomes absolutely critical. Automated cutting machines slice each carcass into standardized portions with 99% accuracy. Every drumstick weighs between 2.5 and 3.5 ounces. Every thigh comes in at 3 to 4 ounces. Wings run 2 to 3 ounces each. Chicken breasts, being the largest pieces, range from 4 to 8 ounces depending on the specific product they are destined for. The backs and other trim pieces get sent off for use in other products like chicken, nuggets, or processed foods. Human workers handle any pieces that the machines cannot process correctly, and X-ray equipment scans every single piece looking for bone fragments or other foreign objects. Quality inspectors reject any pieces that show bruising, remaining feathers, or other defects. Less than 3% of pieces get rejected at this stage, which shows just how precise the modern processing system has become. For restaurants in areas with large Muslim populations, KFC operates dedicated halal processing plants. In these facilities, the slaughter follows Islamic religious requirements, with trained halal butchers performing the process according to strict guidelines. The rest of the processing remains essentially the same. Now the chicken pieces move to a separate coating facility, and this is where the KFC magic really starts to happen. The first step is marination, where needles inject a brine solution into every single piece of chicken. This brine contains water, salt, phosphates, and monosodium glutamate, which is MSG. After injection, the pieces go into large tumbling machines that run under vacuum pressure for about 45 minutes. This tumbling action works the brine deep into the muscle fibers, making the meat incredibly tender and helping it retain moisture during cooking. The breading process uses 3 distinct steps that have remained basically unchanged since Colonel Sanders developed them. First, every piece gets dredged through wheat flour mixed with salt, black pepper, and garlic powder. This flour coating creates an adhesion base that helps everything else stick properly. Second, the floured pieces dip into a wet batter made from eggs, milk, water, and additional flour. This batter creates a moisture barrier that keeps the juices inside the meat during frying. Third, and this is the important one, each piece gets coated with the famous 11 herbs and spices blend. The exact recipe remains one of the most closely guarded secrets in the food industry, but we know the blend contains about 23 total ingredients, including paprika, thyme, and MSG, among others. Workers hand fold each piece through the spice mixture between 7 and 20 times to make sure every surface gets completely covered. This hand-folding technique is one reason KFC chicken has such an uneven, craggy coating that creates extra crispy texture when fried. After breading, the chicken goes through a partial cooking process called par frying. The pieces drop into industrial fryers filled with a blend of soybean and canola oil heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. These fryers operate under 12 pounds per square inch of pressure, which is the same pressure cooking technique Colonel Sanders invented back in the 1930s. The par frying lasts about 7 minutes and cooks the chicken to roughly 70% doneness, bringing the internal temperature up to between 145 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Immediately after par frying, the chicken pieces move through a blast chiller that drops their temperature down to between 38 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit within minutes. From there, they enter spiral freezers operating at negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The pieces spend about 45 minutes in these freezers, emerging completely frozen solid and ready for packaging. Workers pack the frozen chicken into 40-pound boxes, sorted by piece type. Drumsticks go in one box, thighs in another, breasts in their own boxes, and so on. These boxes get loaded onto refrigerated trucks for distribution to KFC restaurants across the country. Most restaurants receive 2 to 3 deliveries per week, and the trucks travel from distribution centers located within about 200 miles of the stores they supply. At the restaurant, the frozen chicken goes into walk-in freezers kept at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. The chicken can legally be stored frozen for up to 9 months. But KFC typically uses chicken that was processed just 10 to 21 days earlier. The company uses just-in-time inventory systems and a hub and spoke distribution network to keep everything moving efficiently without building up excess stock. When a customer orders chicken, restaurant workers pull the frozen pieces directly from the freezer and drop them straight into the pressure fryers without any thawing. These commercial fryers, often made by a company called Henny Penny, heat oil to between 350 and 375 degrees Fahrenheit under 12 pounds per square inch of pressure. The chicken cooks for 13 to 15 minutes until the internal temperature reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the safe minimum temperature required by food safety regulations. The pressure frying technique that Colonel Sanders pioneered makes all the difference here. Regular deep frying at atmospheric pressure takes much longer and tends to dry out the meat. The pressurized environment traps steam inside the coating, which keeps moisture locked in the meat while still allowing the exterior to get extremely crispy. Restaurant workers filter the frying oil every single night to remove food particles that would otherwise burn and create off flavors. Once cooked, the chicken moves to heated holding cabinets that maintain a temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Here is something most customers do not realize though. KFC has a strict 90-minute freshness rule. Any chicken that sits in those holding cabinets for longer than an hour and a half gets thrown away and cannot be sold. This policy helps ensure that every piece of chicken served is still at peak quality. For chicken sandwiches and other specialty items, the preparation differs slightly. Fillets get double dipped through the breading process to create an extra thick, extra crunchy coating that holds up well inside a sandwich bun with sauces and toppings. Quality control happens at every single stage of this process. USDA inspectors work on site at the processing plants, checking carcasses and monitoring procedures. KFC sends its own auditors to visit facilities monthly, checking things like piece weight accuracy within 0.3 ounces, breading coverage percentages, and oil quality measurements. Any supplier that fails these audits risks losing their contract entirely. On the farm side, daily welfare checks monitor the health and comfort of the birds. Independent auditors from organizations like FAI Farms conduct thorough inspections every 15 months, tracking more than 350 farm sites across dozens of suppliers. KFC has invested over $750,000 just in their auditing programs. Software systems now allow real-time monitoring of conditions at farms and processing plants around the clock. The company has committed to several major welfare improvements under the Better Chicken commitment. These include transitioning to slower growing chicken breeds that have fewer health problems, reducing the number of birds per square meter of barn space, adding environmental enrichments to keep the chickens more comfortable, and implementing more humane stunning systems. The goal is full compliance across all suppliers by 2026. Antibiotics represent another area where KFC has made changes. Following guidelines from the Responsible Use of Medicines in Agriculture Alliance, the company has been phasing out antibiotics that are important for human medicine. All eggs used in KFC products now come from cage-free sources, and palm oil, when used, carries certification from the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. The environmental footprint of chicken production is massive, and KFC has set targets to reduce their impact. The company aims to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 46% by 2030. They have committed to sourcing only deforestation-free soy by 2025 for use in chicken feed. Packaging is moving toward more sustainable materials across all their restaurants worldwide. Supply chain management at this scale requires constant innovation. After a logistics disaster in 2018 when a switch to a new delivery company left hundreds of UK restaurants without chicken for days, KFC learned hard lessons about backup systems and supplier redundancy. Today, artificial intelligence systems help forecast demand so restaurants order the right amount of chicken and minimize waste. New fryer designs reduce oil consumption while maintaining cooking quality. Regional differences exist throughout the KFC system depending on local tastes and regulations. In the United States, restaurants use a soybean canola oil blend. In the United Kingdom, they switched to rapeseed oil. Menu items vary dramatically by country, with rice bowls popular in China and spaghetti actually being a staple at KFC locations in the Philippines. The entire system that gets a piece of chicken from a farm in rural America to your dinner table represents one of the most sophisticated food supply chains ever created. Billions of chickens, thousands of farms, hundreds of processing facilities, and over 30,000 restaurants in more than 150 countries all coordinate to deliver that same consistent taste that Colonel Sanders created in his small Kentucky restaurant more than 80 years ago. From the precise temperature controls in the incubators to the exact pressure settings in the fryers, every single variable has been optimized through decades of trial and error. The chicken in your bucket traveled through nearly 50 different steps, passed more than 50 quality inspections, and was handled by dozens of workers and machines before reaching you. That is the complete journey of KFC chicken, from a tiny egg on a breeder farm to the crispy, golden piece you bite into. The next time you open that red and white bucket, you will know exactly what it took to put that chicken in your hands.